Okay, so when you get the Saber, obviously you unwrap it. It comes in a little case like this, and I'll have the charger sitting in one end. This will all be wrapped up and packaged. Charger with the Aussie pin. It's a 4.2 volt charger, so it's a single cell Saber, lithium ion battery, so that just plugs into the back of the Saber. The Saber will come all wrapped up. This is it. You can see all the detail on it. Nice Graflex 2 replica. It's got a blade holder inside. Blade plug, I should say. The blade holder screw is this one here, the eye. So you just loosen that off a bit, and that plug will come out fairly easily. Slide out, and don't over tighten this one on the plug. If you do, you'll end up with a blade plug like this with a split in it. It will crack fairly easily, so popping that back in, let's push the bunny ears, and it just drops back in. You can just slide it in gently and just do it up, not too tight. It's held in nicely anyway. Buttons, this is just a gribbly, so that's not functional at all. Obviously the pins aren't functional at all. Here we've got a functioning on and off button here at the front. And on the card here, the front is a button on off, so that's just wired in with this one. And then the back button is for your different sound effects and changing sound fonts, etc. This screw should be always done up reasonably tight. This has been adjusted to clamp nicely on the back here, so it can't be unscrewed as yet. So if you just pull the lever, we can then unscrew this. You don't screw that all the way up. You screw it so that this is lined up and pointing downwards from the clamp card. That's the way that they would wear them in the movies. Doing that up, it's locked in. Undo it, and then you can see it's probably a couple of turns, and then it slides out. So it's your rear piece. This back of the hilt does come out. That's pretty tight in there. You can get that off if you would like, but I find it easier just to take this bit off. And in the very back here, you can see the detail with the little crystal in here that lights up. A couple of things to look out for when you're putting this back on is to make sure that the switches here don't press down on that. You see the switch comes down at the back. You will break a wire if you push that in while that's out. You're better off just pressing this end and then just carefully sliding it in. And then, as I say, you just twist that a couple of times until it's lined up like I've got it there. Lock it back down. That's all good. Good to go. That's not coming off. So we undo it. A couple of things in the back is the SD card. The back here, you press in there with a small screwdriver or some tweezers, and you can get the SD card out. I will throw in a little SD adapter. So it's a micro SD card. My advice is you take that card out, put it in here and back that up. I will give you a backup of what I've got on the computer of the sound fonts, etc. But obviously you edit this to change settings, sound fonts, colours. You can put music on the Saber as well. You can play songs, etc. There's 2 songs loaded on it by default, and you can adjust that. Inside here is the i2 card. It's the Igniter 2 card from Nigon Electronics. I've got some little LEDs in here that light up as a little display pattern. You can modify that in the SD card settings or downloading the free software from Igniter 2 or Nigon Electronics website. And I've got some other LEDs in here that light up, and there's obviously an RGB LED linked with the main LED in here that allows the crystal to glow the same colour as the blade colour. Turning this on, there's 2 ways to do it. This key in the back here is in the charge port. You can either pull that key out. You just got to be careful if it's locked in. It's because it's held in a little slot. Just turn it gently, and you can see it's powering up. And then you can easily pull it out once it's powered up if you need to. For charging, that's what you would do. You can see the key is slotted. So if that slot is caught and it's not easy to get out, don't force it out. Just turn it until it comes out easily. You can see inside here that we've got a small blinking light flashing. There's a UV LED in the back here that's glowing. Powering the Saber up, we would press the power button. Let's just reset it. There we go. So now we've fired up correctly. Then we've got the little LEDs flashing in a pattern sequence. Power it up. You can either press this one. There we go. We've got the green glow. We've got the crystal glowing inside. You can hear as I move it. So a different sound effect. And to turn it off, you can press this one at the top. There we go. Turn it on here. Turn it off here. Press and hold. Oops. That should turn off. And so we're all powered up. Now what you do is put this back in. As I say, be careful putting it back in. Again, I would prefer to press it and turn it on as you put it in. And then just wind it up until you get that lined up accordingly. And then just, yeah, power it up. Here the sound is deeper because the hilt is on. You can see the LEDs through the back. Working fine. Back button here has blaster sounds. You can actually press that and within a time keep hitting it and the blasters will keep going. Press and hold. See the flash on clash there as you press and hold. That's the lock up sound, as if the blades were striking each other. Press this one, turns the blade off. So that's about the basic functionality. To change sound font, just give it one press on the back here while the Saber's off.
Father's son.
So that's Father's Son, that is Luke's Saber sound.
Father.
Keep pressing it.
Standard
Student issue, Essence,
Hidden warrior.
Hidden Warrior, Whole Truth, Dark Apprentice.
Dark. The Dark Order.
Dark Order's pretty good. Obviously this is not a dark side Saber, but does sound pretty good. You can see I've got the blade glowing red. More of a flicker effect. You can change all that in the software. Lock up sound. Blaster deflector. Turn off. Another sound.
The Dark Velocity.
Velocity, that's a good one. Again, orange blade. Different sounds. Lock up sound. Turn off.
Velocity.
Press.
Major 5-0. Now that.
This is one I did. Sort of a custom one based on the pod racer. It's quite cool.
Now testing.
It's a test one that comes with the
Essence.
card.
Father's
Father's Son, so that's the Luke Skywalker one that you'll probably leave on default. Green blade. I think it's a 7/8 blade that goes in here. It's not included. I may ship if the shipping price isn't too much for you. We'll see how we go. But dropping a blade in it again, push the bunny ears, plug will drop out. Get a 7/8 blade. It's just a piece of PVC tube in this particular case, and we carefully squeeze the bunny ears. Drop the blade in, back that off. This is less fragile, the blade, so that can be done up fairly tight on the blade. That's locked in now. So you've got the blade in there. And probably just to get an idea. Flash colours. Lock up sounds. Sounds. powering it off. And that's about it. For other sounds on here, for playing music, just press and long hold. You can skip through the songs. So that's pretty cool. Absolutely fully programmable on the Igniter 2 card. You can play games, you've got all sorts of apps that can go on the card. You've got to read the manual, understand it, and have some fun programming it up. Turn that off. Again, taking the blade out, undo the blade screw, squeeze the bunny ears, blade will drop out. I'll ship it with the blade plug in. Again, squeeze the bunny ears, that should just drop in nicely. You can sort of get that lined up. Gently screw it up, not, as I say, not too tight. Big thing to be careful of is, as I say, the wires pinching under this small switch. Just be very, very careful when you're sliding that in. I have put some what we call heat shrink around the wires to make sure it doesn't get too pinched. The kill key goes in. You can just slot that in fairly easily. I know that's obviously off. Always check that it is turned off. Flattening the battery, leaving it off, it'll flatten the battery and the battery will be dead and then it'll have to be replaced. And I'd prefer to do that unless you know how to disassemble these things. Turning the kill key, again, it'll come on there. The kill key won't fall out. Or you can turn it until it's just in the off position. As I say, the SD card, you'll need to get some tweezers in there. You can probably use your fingers if you've got a little fingernail. There's the SD card that's soldered in the back. Always do that when the Saber's turned off, ideally. SD card back in, that's all secure. Just check that powers back up again. There it goes. Powered up, LEDs blinking, as it should. So, turned off. It's fully charged. Push that in, there we go. And a couple of turns, as I say, not all the way. Doesn't need to go all the way in. And lock that down, and that's nice and secure. So I'll give this a bit of a polish up for you and enjoy. As I say, I'll cover this with a warrant if anything fails. Dueling wise, I'll take it easy, light to medium. I wouldn't go heavy dueling on it because of the fragile nature of the build. It's really a collector's item. I only think probably about 800 of these were made, maybe even less. And then they had to be built by a Saber maker, which I do as a part-time hobby. All right, mate. Cheers, enjoy.